This is lesson 4 of your money management unit. This lesson is going to teach you how to create a spending plan. So as we've gone through lessons 1 through 3, we've already analyzed what we've been spending money on and set some SMART goals to strive for, and we've also learned how to make wise decisions. Now the rubber meets the road, and it's time to start making all of this happen. So your next step is to create the roadmap that will guide you to your destination, and our destination that we're looking towards is success. Now, this is life we're talking about. There is no specific roadmap. I can't open up Google Maps and have it direct me through life. But our map is a spending plan or a budget. And it's going to detail exactly how you're going to use your money to pay for the things you want. And an effective spending plan, it doesn't only multiply your chances of success, it also helps make the journey faster and easier. So in this lesson, you are going to develop the skills you need to create an effective spending plan. So after we discuss how a spending plan can help you create your spending habits, and after we describe what a spending plan is and we explain how to use a spending plan, it will be your job to create a plan to guide your own spending. So many times when you're in a store, you might feel like you purchased way more than you ever expected. So I want you to think about ways that businesses use sales and different marketing tactics to encourage shoppers to buy things. So think about these questions. And you can write the answers down as you brainstorm all of the possible options, but I want you to write this down and answer a lot of these questions. So what is in the store window that got you to walk in at the beginning? Why did you even enter that store? What techniques are used to get you into the door? What's the first thing you see when you walk into the store? Are you ever tempted to buy those things? What do you have to walk past in order to get to the object you want to buy? And did you ever pick up any of those things on the way? When standing in line at the register, have you ever picked up anything on display to buy? And when you get your item, do you receive any coupons or flyers that will encourage you to come back? Do they have any expiration dates? So pause this video in just a second. I want you to think about 1 or 2 stores. You could even do an online experience. But think about these questions when you're going shopping. Go ahead, pause this, and answer those questions on a separate piece of paper. So I brainstormed the answers to these questions as well. Specifically, when I was reading through these, I thought about Old Navy. It's one of my favorite stores. I go there often, and they have a lot of really good selling tactics. So what is in the store window that got me to walk in the first place? Well, when I'm outside Old Navy, usually there's a lot of mannequins in the windows. There's male and female mannequins, and they're dressed really nicely with bright colors. They never look sloppy. There's also usually some type of poster on the window saying that there might even be a sale. So that draws me right away because I want to find out what sales are there. So those are some of the techniques that they use to get me into the door, sales and nicely dressed mannequins. The first thing that I see when I walk into the store, well, usually in the very center, they have the deal of the week, whether that's pairs of jeans or t-shirts, whatever it is that's on sale or a deal of the week, they'll put that right front and center. So it's the first thing that I see. Usually I'm not tempted to buy it because it's never a deal that I necessarily want or need at the time, but there's usually a whole lot of people who are around that center table looking at the sale of the week. When I go into Old Navy, usually I just like to browse their clearance section, which is in the back of the store. So in order for me to get to the objects that I want to look at, I have to go through all of the new clothes that are out on display. And oftentimes, I might even pick up some of those clothes and look at them and kind of put them up to me and see if I think that it would be a good fit. Sometimes I'll even check to see if they have my size or a lot of my size. If they don't, but it's something that I really, really, really like, I might take it with me as I go browse the clearance items. Otherwise, I usually put it back. When I'm standing at the register, when I'm about to pay, there are usually a lot of things on display, and they're not necessarily clothing related. A lot of the times there's headphones or cosmetic pieces or just some fun little knickknacks for your eyes to look at while you're waiting in line. And I've picked them up at times. I've never really purchased them. The only time that I ever purchased one of those little knickknacks was when I had a coupon to get $10 off of $50, and I was at $47. So I looked and I found a $3 item on those racks, and then I was able to get my coupon to work. So it was $10 off of $50. And even when I check out, once I've actually purchased my items, a lot of the times I do get coupons for my next purchase. Sometimes they print out my receipt and there's a survey that if I go online and fill out the survey, there's a little code and it'll give me 10% off my next purchase. Other times they say, come back between these two dates or this set of dates and get 15% off your next purchase. So they really do encourage you to come back. Old Navy, when I used to get those surveys, those 10% off surveys, they used to not have an expiration date, but they've changed their tactics, and now that has an expiration date, as well as those coupons. Usually those coupons have a date range, so I can't use them, those coupons, like the very next day. I have to wait a few weeks to come back. So I hope you as well were able to brainstorm some ideas. They may have been very similar to mine. You may have also brainstormed some other ideas that businesses get you to spend money on things. Now I want you to know it's not bad that businesses want you to spend money. That's their job. Their job is to make money on their customers. But we as the customers have to be very careful about what we are spending our money on, which is why we create a spending plan. All right, so let's preview our lesson today. Today, through this lesson, you'll be answering these questions. You'll be answering the question, how can a spending plan help you better manage your spending habits? What is a spending plan? How do you use a spending plan? And once we answer those questions, you'll use what you've learned to create your very own spending plan, primarily for large purchases. Even though we're going to be creating a spending plan through this lesson, it's important to understand that so many things happen to us, and we don't plan for them. And most times, these accidents that occur, they cost us money. So you are going to be spending the next few minutes conducting a quick online search to estimate the repair or the replacement costs for these different whoops situations. So let's look at these situations. If you break a flat screen TV, if you break a laptop, if you download a virus on your computer, or if you get into a fender bender, if you have a flat tire, or you break or fracture one of your bones, you lose your cell phone, you lose your iPod, or you run out of gas and you can't actually walk to get to a gas station. You have to actually have an auto service company bring you gas. How much would each of these costs, how much would each of these accidents cost you right out of your pocket if they happen to you tomorrow? In your notebook, you should have a paper that looks like this. It says whoops at the top, and then it explains the scenario that we just talked about. Your directions for this assignment are for each statement below to guess how much money it would cost to repair or replace the item. Then write your guess in the student estimate column. So you're taking a guess at how much you think each of these accidents should cost before you look online. And then your second step, after you've filled out the student estimate column, is to use the internet to conduct an online search that you can use to estimate the repair or replacement cost for each item. So then you'd write the estimate in the online estimate column once you look online. And a hint for you is to use the phrases, how much would it cost to fix, and then type in whatever it is that you're looking for, or how much would it cost to replace one of these items. So when you search online, that's how you can kind of quickly find what the internet is giving as an estimate. So right now, go ahead, pause this video, fill out the student estimate column, and then use the internet to give an online estimate for each of these accidents. So I hope you've realized that these accidents, and they are accidents that can happen to anybody, they are very costly. So do you think that you right now would be able to cover the cost with the cash that you had on hand at the moment? Could you, with the money that you have, pay to repair or to replace these items? So many times these accidents happen, and if we're not prepared for them, then we have to make some payments some other places. Now, what do I mean by that? We have to make payments in other places. So when you have an accident, not only do you have to deal with the cost of replacing or repairing the damage, but sometimes those unexpected costs can impact our ability to meet other spending obligations. For instance, if I go to the doctor because I have a broken bone, I'm going to have to pay medical bills. So if I don't have a plan in place for these unexpected accidents, then I'm going to have to come up with the money out of what I use to pay for my groceries or pay for my rent or my electricity. So having a plan is quite important so that we can be better prepared for whatever life has to throw in our way. So we've already discussed that our spending plan, it's our roadmap for success. Benjamin Franklin has this quote. He said, "By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail." So by failing, by not preparing at all, then you are setting yourself to fail. Now, I don't think anybody really wants to fail. So when we're talking about finances, we can create a spending plan. So we want to establish our priorities, and we want to plan in advance so that we can make progress to achieve our goals. We already wrote SMART goals. We want to avoid traps and buyer's remorse. So when we have a plan in place, when I go into places like Old Navy, I know exactly how much I can spend, and I'm not feeling trapped, or I don't feel guilty about buying extra things that I don't really need. We can deal with unexpected accidents when we have a spending plan. We would have money already set aside to deal with those accidents. We have money on hand when we need it, and we can put into control how our money is used and not just spend it willy-nilly on items that we feel like we want but might not need. So in order to create a successful spending plan, there's two things that a person really needs to do. They need to identify expected costs and saving goals. So in a typical week or month, how much are you planning to spend on food, on groceries, on savings? And number two, we have to figure out how we're going to cover those costs with the money that we've earned. So with the money that we have on hand, how are we going to cover all the expenses that we have? Before we go any further, I'd like for you to get your student booklet out and turn to pages 22 and 23. Go ahead and pause this video and read through those two pages. So pause this, read through pages 22 and 23 in your student booklet. So pages 22 and 23 just give a little bit more of an explanation about a spending plan and budgeting. And this is similar to what a budget might look like when you've budgeted out all your expenses for the month. So you can see down one column, it's the monthly expenses, things that you might have to pay for in a typical month. So cell phone, car insurance, food, gas, clothing, entertainment, personal care, and donations. It also talks about total expenses. So that is how much you expect to spend all month long, and your estimated income, how much money you are getting this month because of your work, and the difference. What's the difference between how much you're spending and how much you're coming in with? There are two different people here, Michael and Selena. You can see their expenses. Michael has more expenses, but he also has a larger income. If you look, his total expenses are $410, and his estimated income is $544. Selena has less expenses, only $178 worth, and her income is $160. So I want you to take a look at these two individuals and see, do Michael and Selena both have enough money to pay for their expenses this month? What do you think? Try and figure that out, and in our next section we'll discuss who has saved enough money and who might need to rethink their spending plan.